Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the most popular and, honestly, one of the most powerful programming languages in the world, Python.
So how can one single tool do all of that? I mean, build websites, wrangle huge amounts of data, and script software? It sounds a little too good to be true, right? But that incredible versatility is exactly what makes Python so special. So let's dig into what it is and how it pulls all this off.
Okay, so to really get what makes Python so powerful, we've got to start at square one. What are we even talking about here?
At its core, Python is what's called a high-level, general-purpose programming language. Now, high-level just means it's designed to be super readable for us humans. And general purpose? Well, that means it's not a one-trick pony. It's more like a Swiss Army knife for coding. And it's not some new kid on the block. The whole idea was dreamed up by Guido van Rossum way back in the late 1980s, and the first version came out in 1991. It was built with a really clear philosophy from the very beginning, which we'll get to in just a bit.
All right, so that's the what. But what about the how? What's actually in this toolbox that lets you build so much cool stuff?
Python's power really breaks down into four huge areas. You can use it for the behind-the-scenes stuff on websites. That's the server side. You can build actual software with it. It's a beast for complex math, and it can automate all sorts of boring tasks on your computer through scripting.
Okay, let's get a little more specific, because this is where it gets really fun. In the real world, this means you're building web apps, creating automated workflows, talking to and changing databases, crunching massive amounts of data, and this is a big one, you can test out ideas super fast. That's called rapid prototyping, and it's a huge reason why so many people love it.
So, with all the programming languages out there, why has Python just exploded in popularity? Well, there's kind of a secret sauce, and it's all about making life way easier for the person writing the code.
First off, it's basically a world traveler. You can write your Python code on a Windows computer, and that same code will run on a Mac, on a Linux server, even on a tiny little computer like a Raspberry Pi. You write it once, and it just works. That's a huge deal.
This is probably Python's most famous feature. The way you write it, its syntax, is designed to be clean and readable. It looks a lot like plain English. That makes it easier to learn, for sure. But it also makes it easier to come back to your own code months later and actually understand what you were doing.
And all that simplicity leads to efficiency. A lot of the time, you can solve a problem in Python with way fewer lines of code than you'd need in other languages. And that means you're developing faster with less chance for bugs to sneak in.
Another game-changing thing is how Python runs your code. It uses something called an interpreter. What that means for you is that you can write a piece of code and run it immediately. There's no long waiting step. For anyone who just wants to try an idea out and see if it works, this is an absolute game changer.
Now, this simplicity we keep talking about, it wasn't some happy accident. Nope, it was the entire plan from day one. Let's take a look at the actual blueprint.
I mean, just listen to this. The core design goal was always readability. It was built from the ground up to be understood, blending the kind of clarity you get from English with the pure logic of math.
And this right here, this is the aha moment for so many people. Where other languages make you use things like semicolons to end command, or these curly brackets to group code together, Python does something radically simple. It just uses new lines and indentation. White space. It sounds so basic, but it makes the code unbelievably clean and easy to follow.
So if you're sitting there thinking, okay, this sounds pretty cool, what's the first step? Well, the good news is it's a lot simpler than you might imagine.
There are really just two things you need to know to get going. First, the version everyone is using now is Python 3. And second, you don't need any fancy expensive software to write it. You can literally start writing Python code today in a basic text editor that's probably already on your computer.
So when you boil it all down, Python's superpower is its simplicity. It was intentionally built to be readable, letting people turn really complex ideas into clean, understandable instructions. So it kind of begs the question, right? If you had a tool that was literally designed to make complicated things simple, what problem would you solve? What would you build?